It's Elliotte Friedman's time, baby, because Friedge has gone out there with his latest 32 Thoughts written article that we are going to dive into here today because it reveals some information as to the Vancouver Canucks and how they might have just stolen a player from the hands of the reigning Western Conference champions. As always, this show is brought to you by ExpressVPN. Go out there and check out the first link in the description to get some free months on your VPN, save some money, and support this YouTube channel all in the process. But also linked in the description is the 32 Thoughts article from today. The NHL is heading into uncharted territory. No, we're not talking about Nathan Drake, nor Tom Holland, nor Mark Wahlberg. The uncharted territory here is referring to the salary cap and the fact that it is going into the $102 to $105 million range. Then you gotta put it up to $113 million in 2027, 2028. It's gonna be ridiculous, guys. But I'm not here to talk about the salary cap. We can talk about that later. We can go over the implications and some situations with other teams. Connor McDavid's going to get $18 million on his next contract, no shot. But I wanted to scroll down into the thoughts that Friedman has about the Canucks and what everything is looking like post-JT Miller trade. Let's scroll down over to thought number 6. Watching the Rangers and the Canucks post-Miller trade makes you realize how much better off everyone is now that this saga is over. No more uncertainty. No more stress. Miller is a different, more energized player in New York, and you can see how happy his new teammates, particularly Vinny Trocheck, are to have him. And then linked is a post made by BR Open Ice. This is via Hillary Trocheck on Instagram. It's Vinny Trocheck and JT Miller cutting open a steak. And of course, you know, Miller and Trocheck, childhood friends that grew up together playing hockey together. It is ideal, as Hillary Trocheck says in the Instagram post. But if you scroll down and read a little bit more about this thought that Friedman has, with the two trades that the Vancouver Canucks made, they look like a different team. Remodeled defense, the entire group quicker both in their skates and moving the puck. For different reasons than Miller, Filipino needed a fresh start. The Canucks out-wrestled Western rivals Edmonton and Vegas, among others, for Drew O'Connor, and will attempt to extend him too. The Athletic's Arthur Staple reported that New York was unwilling to part with their 2023 90th overall selection, Drew Fortesk, a defenseman out of the NCAA's Boston College Eagles system. Vancouver will be happy with Victor Mancini, but Fortesk was the original target. Rangers GM Chris Drury knows him very well, as his son Luke was a minor hockey teammate for several seasons. But I wanted to focus on that one quote here. The Canucks out-wrestled Western rivals Edmonton and Vegas for Drew O'Connor. And the reason this is interesting is because it fits with what was talked about by Frank Seravalli a few days ago. Seravalli says the Oilers were really in on Drew O'Connor because they want a speedy bottom six wing. I like the sentiment. Fast, big winger, some skill, but Rico, I'm not sure who they're referring to, is not a real 3C, and Drew O'Connor is not a fighter or a scorer. With Rico Philp at C and Kane, Skinner, Perry, Brown, Janmark on the wings, the Oilers are old and overall slow. They need speed, playmaking, and transition ability, likely a 3C. Size and hitting can take a back seat. We have enough tough, slow players. Think Novak, Gord, Reichel types. So this is obviously a post made from the Oilers' point of view, but I did think it was interesting to bring up because it has that information here. Frank Seravalli saying that the Oilers were in on O'Connor as well. The Canucks had to out-wrestle Edmonton and Vegas to get O'Connor onto their team. And honestly, based off of what we had seen in the game the other day, 2 nights ago against Colorado, I'm really starting to understand why this guy was such a valued asset on the trade market. 26 years old, signed on till the end of this season, making under $1 million. Yes, the Canucks need to re-sign him because, you know, they already did one. They got Marcus Pettersson re-signed. If they re-sign Drew O'Connor, then all of a sudden it validates and vindicates the idea of Vancouver trading away that first-round pick. But Drew O'Connor had 33 points in 79 games last year. This season he's got 16 and 53 with the Penguins and 1 goal in 2 games with the Canucks. He's not going to sustain a half a point a game pace for the rest of his time in Vancouver, I wouldn't think. But what we saw out of O'Connor 2 nights ago, with his size, with his mobility, with his tools, and just his dog, I saw maybe like a bigger discount Tyler Mott in Drew O'Connor. And he has some skill too. It's been a very underrated part of his profile, even in the goal that he had scored. Not only was he able to use his size to protect the puck and walk right into the middle with his speed, but he also had the hands to be able to finesse it and just backhand it from center ice into the open cage. And I get it, that's not like the biggest, most amazing feat of hands at the NHL level we've ever seen, but still, it's notable enough where I'm like, yeah, this guy actually does have a really solid package of tools. Size, hands, feet. He's got all of it. And as a bottom six player that can provide some spark, this is exactly what the Vancouver Canucks needed. Players who can play heavy up front, not just players who are big and strong in the back end, like Elias Pettersson, for example, like Tyler Myers, like what you were supposed to get out of Vinny Desharnais, like Nikita Zadorov from last year. Drew O'Connor provides almost everything you need, and at under $1 million, that's such a steal of a player that, of course, you're going to have to re-sign this guy. You're going to have to give him a raise. He's going to stick around with some more money attached to his name there. But with the cap going up, I mean, Vancouver, they already got this player. If he can provide more of that consistency in the bottom six and maybe inspire some of these other Canucks guys to maybe take a few more hits and deliver a little bit more in terms of their physical play, then who knows the impact that this kind of player is going to have on this hockey club. When I think about the teams like Vegas and Edmonton being interested in this guy, oh yeah, that makes a ton of sense. I think about Edmonton, they've already thrived with Corey Perry in their system. Sure, he's old and slow. Drew O'Connor provides some of that spark as a younger, faster dude, but he's also big. We saw Edmonton make the finals last year. Sure, McDavid, Draisaitl, and everybody else were scoring a whole bunch of points, but they got extra support from guys who were able to stand the physical tests of the playoffs. Vegas, I think, is an even better example of a team that could use a player like Drew O'Connor. They have so many guys that are a lot more physically inclined, that are quick and hard to shove off the puck. You have the Keegan Colasars, you've got the Nick Waz, you've got other guys who play with a lot of pace in the bottom six. Drew O'Connor, I feel, is like more of a perfect match, stylistically, with the Vegas Golden Knights than maybe any other team in the league. So I'm happy that the Vancouver Canucks were able to out-wrestle the Oilers and the Golden Knights to get the rights to this player and see that value for their own hockey team. If you're a fan of the Oilers and or the Golden Knights, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. How does it feel that Vancouver ended up getting this guy that you were so heavily interested in? If you had the chance to get Drew O'Connor, would you do it for your team? Do you think this would have been an appropriate acquisition for what it is you're trying to build? I'm sitting here as a Vancouver fan trying to interject my thoughts on the Oilers and the Golden Knights. But I do think that this would have been a really good fit for all those teams there, especially in Vegas. What are your thoughts about this entire trade process? Do you think you would have tried to outbid Vancouver, knowing now what it costs for Vancouver to get him in the first place? Granted, they also got Marcus Pettersson, who is one of the better shutdown defensive defensemen in the entire NHL, so it's a little bit of a different thing. It's not just Drew O'Connor for a pick or a prospect or whatever, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Oilers fans, Vegas fans, Canucks fans, how do you feel about Drew O'Connor and the Canucks winning the sweepstakes here? How the Canucks stole this player from Vegas and or Edmonton? Thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. 99 and bye.